Hey everyone, I hope you all are safe and doing good. So, in the previous lecture, we have seen what is multiple inheritance and what is that deadly diamond problem, right? In Java does not support why Java does not support multiple inheritance that I have told you with classes basically, right? So, now the question was in the previous lecture, we have seen how we are going to implement those pet behavior, those pet methods in those cat and dog class because those are like pet classes. Those are animal as well as pet, but they cannot extend from both animal and pet. That is multiple inheritance, and that is not allowed in Java because of the ambiguity. I have shown you this thing, right? Now, what is the solution now? How we are going to solve that thing? So, for that, we are having in Java interfaces. They have introduced a new concept that is interfaces. Now, in this lecture, we'll see what are interfaces and why we need basically interfaces. So, one simple reason is to achieve multiple inheritance, we need interfaces. That is for sure. I'll show you how we can achieve multiple inheritance with this. So to achieve multiple inheritance and to achieve abstraction, basically, no interfaces. See, we know the super type or the super class always define a contract or a protocol, common protocol that the subclasses have to follow. You know that thing. If that super class or that is the super type, what is the whatever the super type, that is a class, simple class. In that case, this class will have some instance like methods, and you can say those concrete methods and all, right? The class, simple class, can have only concrete methods, not abstract method. Okay, some attributes, some methods, and whatever class is going to inherit this class means automatically that class will inherit all the things whatever is there in this class. So basically it is defining a common protocol for all the subclasses. If the super class is abstract class, suppose, in that case, this also I have shown you. We have discussed what are abstract classes. Basically, these are also a contract, or you can say a common design or a common blueprint for all the like subclasses. But what is the difference between a simple class and abstract class? In abstract class, we can have both abstract method and concrete method. Now we know what are abstract. A concrete method. The methods having implementation or the method body. Abstract method are what? Having no implementation, right? So we are having few methods with no implementation because it is not making any sense sometime to define these some methods in the superclass because there is no like exact implementation of those methods, right? So we only define these methods in the subclasses of this class. But all the subclasses, the first concrete subclass of this abstract class must have to implement all the abstract method given in this class. That is a rule. So basically, you can say the conclusion is this class, abstract class, is also like defining a common protocol or contract. Now, third thing we also have in Java, that is interfaces. Same interface is also defining a common contract or a common blueprint, right? But the thing is, in most of the cases, in interfaces, we have only public and abstract method, or you can say only abstract methods. No concrete method are there. In most of the cases, mostly we have all the abstract method. Although prior to Java 8, prior to Java 8 means before Java 8 till Java 7, in interfaces, only which methods are allowed? Only public and abstract methods. A method which is public and abstract, that is all only allowed thing in interfaces. Like if you want to write down, suppose you are defining an interface. So I'm having a keyword interface. Interface is a keyword that we use. Interface name here, whatever the name you want to. Rather than class, here we use interface. The keyword is interface, not class, because we are defining interface. And now in the body of this interface, what we have in the body of this interface before Java 8 till Java 7, only public abstract method, like public abstract any method. Suppose any method, like we can have a method 1, any name you can take, with semicolon. There would be no implementation. All abstract methods are only abstract methods are allowed. And these public and abstract, these are optional, because by default all the methods in this interface are public and abstract. So if you do not write this thing, then obviously there is one mistake. You have to write down here the return type as well of this method. Suppose I am writing void. So if you do not write public and abstract, you only write void method 1, that would be considered as by default public and abstract method, right? So before Java 8, only these methods were allowed. But in Java 8, they added something in interfaces. What? In Java 8, they said that, they have added this thing that default as well as static methods are also allowed. So in Java 8 and the later version, means basically in Java 8 they have added this thing that in interfaces you can have default as well as static method and abstract method as well. Now default methods, like default method, and there's we have like void and any method name. Suppose method name, I'm just taking default method, that's it. So this will have some implementation. You can just means this method is having a method body. You can just simply print system.out.println. This is a default method in interface, whatever the interface name. Static method are also having implementation, method body. So we can say basically these are concrete method and this is abstract method. So concrete as well as abstract methods are allowed in interfaces. In Java 8, they have added this thing. So you must be thinking now, what is the difference between abstract class and interface? Because abstract class also have abstract methods and concrete method. And now after Java 8, interfaces also have abstract method and concrete method, like default and static method. These are concrete method having a method body. So basically this thing will be clear to you when we see practically and in later videos also. But one thing I just want to tell you here, in interfaces there is no instance variable. Instance variables are not allowed, right? In abstract classes we have instance variables, the fields, and those variables are used to store the state of the object. We create object of that class, abstract class, and to store the state at a particular time. For that class we need instance variables, we know. But in interfaces cannot store the state of the object, state of like any interface or any object. Obviously we cannot and although we cannot create object of any interface, means interfaces are non instantiable, although abstract classes are also non instantiable. But abstract classes are having subclasses, right? And those subclasses we can create like object of those subclasses. So that's why abstract class is also having constructor, and abstract class is having instance fields also, right? But in interfaces there is no instance variables. Not instance field, it's instance variables, or we can say fields. But yeah, in interfaces we can have constants. Those are like static and final. Some constant value we can have here. If you need, if you need in interface a value or a variable, then that variable can be static and final, like you can say constant, and that should be public. That is allowed. But interfaces do not store state. So that is one difference. And interfaces are, you can say, non instantiable. We cannot create object of interfaces directly, right? Now what are default method and static method? I'll show you that thing also later. I'll upload 2 to 3 videos on interfaces, don't worry. This video is just about introduction to interfaces, right? So that's why I've told you, mostly in most of the cases in interfaces we have only public abstract methods. If you need some time, like default or any other method, like any default method that is common to all the subclasses who are going to implement this interface, then we can use default method. Or like static methods are cannot be inherited by the subclasses. I mean, the classes who are going to implement this interface, static methods cannot be inherited in those classes. Static method are only for this interface. That's it. But I'll upload a separate video on explaining in these explaining line these two methods, default and static. Don't worry. Right. For now, I guess this is clear to you. So now we can say interface is also it's like a contract or a common protocol that the classes who are going to implement this interface have to follow. Because if there is no default or these methods, we are having only 2 to 3 or whatever abstract method you need. We are having only abstract method. And one class is there who is going to implement this interface. Suppose class, we are having class. Here you write class name, right? Implements and whatever the interface name. This is the syntax. This is how we are going to implement this interface. Class, then class name. Then we use the word implements, not extends, because interfaces are implemented, not extended. Classes are extended. Implements whatever the interface name is there. And whatever the abstract method in that interface, in that class, you must have to implement those methods, because these are abstract method having no implementation, but the class must have to implement all the abstract method in this interface. So it is also like a contract, right? And with interfaces, now as that was like before Java 8, there are all abstract methods. So that is the like the reason is simple. If I say you, if I and I ask you why multiple inheritance or the diamond problem cannot be there with inheritance with interfaces, because if a class is implementing two interfaces, and if in interfaces only we are having abstract methods, there is no default or static method, right? So there is no implementation of these method. How diamond problem can be there in those in that class which is implementing two interfaces, right? Because that class must have to implement the abstract method, right? So that abstract method would be like of the class, right? So that's why that diamond problem cannot exist with interfaces. But since in from Java since Java 8, default methods are allowed. Because of those methods, default methods are having implementation body. So if there are two interfaces having same default method with same name, right? And if one class is implementing those two interfaces, in that case, yeah, there can be that a kind of diamond problem, but not properly. I'll tell you how to resolve that problem also. Don't worry, right? Okay, fine. Now, why do we need interfaces? Now, see, to achieve abstraction, interfaces allow us to define abstract method without implementation details. So, basically, to achieve abstraction, we can use interfaces, right? Now, what is an interface? If I say it's a contract that specifies mostly a set of abstract methods a class must implement. See, it's mostly because I have told you now the you can say the changes have been done in Java 8 that default and static methods are also allowed. But mostly we use interfaces. We only have abstract method in interfaces, right? So this is simple example. We have this keyword interface, then the interface name, then method. So by default, this method is public and abstract. No need to write that thing. If you write, that is also fine with no implementation body, right? Syntax, I've shown you, this is the syntax. This is the keyword, then interface name, then the method. So these are optionally you can add constant also that I have told you. Like the public static final variables are also allowed. If needed, then only we take those constants. Otherwise, generally we don't have any like variable or any constant in that interface. Yeah, instance variables are not allowed in interfaces because interfaces do not store any state. That's why instance variables are not allowed. How to implement an interface? Simple that syntax class, then class name, then implements that word, and then interface name. and implement all the abstract method of that interface, right? And if in that class, if you want to add some more method, you can add, like you can add class specific members and methods as well, because in class we all the things are allowed, whether it's instance variables or methods, or everything's are allowed. So you can add whatever you want in that class. Okay, now let me show you practically now, these things. This thing I have told you, like what type of methods are allowed: abstract method, default method, static method, as well as private method also. This thing was added in Java 9. From Java 9 they have added one more thing, that you can also have private methods in interfaces. Before Java 9, only public methods were allowed, whether it's default or static method, but only public methods were allowed. But in Java 9 they have added like private methods are also allowed. But these private methods are, obviously the name tell you, private to the interface, means they cannot be accessed outside of the interface, and they cannot be inherited by the class that implements that interface, right? Even that class cannot access those private methods. These are private to interfaces only, cannot be accessed outside the interface or by the classes that implements the interface. Then maybe you are thinking, why private methods? I'll tell you that reason also, don't worry. I'll discuss answer of every question. But for now, let's just do some practical, and whatever in the previous lecture we have seen, like animal class, and there are some, you can say, those subclasses. So we are also having a pet class, having pet behaviors, but multiple inheritance is not allowed. So we'll make that pet interface. Let me show you practically. Okay, so this was an example. We were having animal class. There we are having like some variables, instance variables, constructor, then method like sleep, concrete method, and three are abstract method: make noise, eat, and play. Play is also abstract method we are having in this. So all the classes, lion, dog, and cat, and there are so many classes we have here like wolf and hippo, and these are implementing these things, right? This thing we have already discussed. So for every concrete class, the first concrete class in the inheritance hierarchy, which is inheriting animal class, must have to implement all the abstract methods: make noise, eat, and play. So we are dealing with right now. We take only dog and cat class, because in these two classes we are going to implement pet methods or pet behavior. So here we are having make noise, eat, and play. So in dog also we are having like make noise, eat, and play, right? We will not deal with any other class for this, right? And we are having one main class. Now, okay, these are the methods. So if you have play method in this animal class, so let's just delete from this play method, and we are having, suppose only let's have only one method. That's it. You can have many methods. There are so many pet behavior, pet method like communicate, show affection, play, and respond to instructions, and many things can be there. But I just want you idea that how we can use interfaces. So we'll take only one method, abstract method, show affection. But this is a class. This is an abstract class pet. This is abstract class because obviously for pet can be anything. How the pet is going to show the affection, we cannot define that thing here. Means dog behavior is different. To show affection, dog behavior is different. Cat behavior is different. Like dog is going to wag its tail and lick your hand. Cat is going to purr and rub against your legs. So for every pet class, the show affection method would be different, right? And there is no implementation for this pet. There is no specific implementation for this pet. That's why we are not implementing this. It is not making any sense to implement this show affection pet class. So this is abstract class. But the thing is, if you want to implement extend animal and pet, it will give you error because these things are not allowed in Java. Must either be declared abstract, like cannot extend multiple classes, right? You just go for this. There are two errors, but just go for the second error. Class cannot extend multiple classes. So this thing is not allowed, right? So the solution is, rather than making this pet a class, we can make this interface, right? So in this interface, in this, you can say that package, folder. Let's create a new Java class, but not class. Select interface here. So now interface is pet. Okay, we are having this pet. If you delete this, if I delete this pet class, and there is no pet class now. Now here let's create new Java class. It's not class, it's interface. So it's pet. Now see, it's public interface. The keyword is interface and pet. Public means from anywhere we can access this. If you change this, it would be default. Then this would be package private. Means within this package only you can access this interface. So if you want default, you can just keep it default. Otherwise, you can just make it public. So that from anywhere, like there is a class in different package that also implement this package if this is public. So that thing is allowed. Now, here we are having that what method, only one method will take. That's it. Show affection. If you write down here public abstract, that thing is also fine. But by default, these methods are public as well as abstract. So don't need to write down this thing. See, the modifier abstract is redundant for interface methods. Public is also redundant. Means no need to write down these methods. By default, these are public and abstract. So we can just remove these. Let's take only one method for now. Or you can take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 methods. As many methods as you want. You can take whatever the pet methods. Now, dog is animal as well as pet. So now dog extends animal class and implements the interface name is pet, right? But there is one error. See, flag this dog must either be declared abstract or implement abstract method show affection in pet. This is a rule because in interface we are having abstract method. So if a class is implementing this interface, then the class must have to define all the abstract methods. So in dog, now let's define this method as well. Like dog is wagging his tail and licking your hand. This is the way how dog basically show affection. So this is like implementation of this. If rather than dog, if you want to uh, print here the name of the dog, so we can simply here access whatever the name of the dog is. Rather than dog, just delete this. Is wagging his tail and licking your hand. So this is like implementation of this. Fine. Now one more thing is there. Okay, we are still getting this error. Why? So let me just show affection and in pet also. Okay. See, this is what Java is case sensitive. So the method name is show affection, but A is small. But in Dove, we are having A is capital. So this is not the same method as we have here. So this method would be same as it is. All the like you can say letters because Java is case sensitive. So now show affection method, right? Now, but the thing is, see, now if the class in inheritance also I have shown you, if you are inheriting any class, then the access specifier here in this case access specifier is public. By default, it's public. And in this, you are not writing any specifier, so it is by default what will be considered default. And default is more restrictive than public, and that is not allowed. See the thing. Show affection in this dog clashes with show affection in pet, attempting to assign weaker access privileges. And previously it was public, but you are assigning package private. So this thing is not allowed. It should be public, like it must be public. If in pet we are having like default, we cannot have default because by default these are public. Because if you are taking the default, those are default methods. So for those you have to like give implementation to those method. But for now it's public by default. So that must be public. This now that's fine. Now see, dog is fetching or inheriting data from animal as well as from pet. Although pet is an interface, so it is implementing interface and it is extending or inheriting the class animal. So it's kind of we are implementing here multiple inheritance, you can say. Not exactly multiple inheritance because that is a class and that is interface. But multiple inheritance, we can say like if it implements two interfaces, like maybe pet 1 or pet 2 or some other interface name you can take. But for now, let's just, now what we have to do, let's just try to run this. Now we have animal, and now see one thing. Animal is equal to dog. Reference I'm taking of animal class because that is super class. Okay, fine, you can take. No problem. We are creating a dog. Animal dot make noise. That's fine. It will run fine. It will not give you any error. So dog is like woof woof. So it will print that thing only. But here one more thing is there. Okay, we got one error. In animal class, dog is not abstract and does not override abstract method play in animal. Is there any method animal? In animal, what we have? Okay, we have an abstract method play, and in dog. Okay, why you are getting this error? See, within this main package, we are having one sub package abstract classes. There we also have dog, and we are now working in interfaces. This folder here also we are having dog. So this dog class is not having that abstract method play. That's why you are getting that error. See, abstract classes and dog, right? And these are interfaces dog. Interfaces are like this, the folder name, then dog. Abstract classes, this folder name and dog. So although these are within the same package, that's why it it is giving you this kind of error. So we can just have one more thing. Just in dog class, let's just define this method within this dog class. So we have implemented this also. Let's just now go to the interfaces. Remove this from here, and now we are having interfaces dog class. Let's see it will work or not. So let's just run this main.main. Okay, so this time it is printing woof woof. So we are just creating dog object and references animal and make noise. If you think that with animal dot, let's call what, this method, because in dog class we are having this method as well, like play, eat, make noise and show affection. So you think that let's just call this method. What do you think? There is no show affection method, cannot resolve method this in animal because the reference is animal. So at, like you can say this static binding, you can say that method signature binding, it will check in the reference only because these objects are created at the runtime. So at compile time only we know, like Java know the reference type, this animal. That's it. But in animal we don't have show affection this method because show affection method is in pet interface. That's why you're getting an error. So you cannot call something like this. Yeah, one thing we can do, if I have pet p, this thing. So reference of this interfaces, to create reference of interfaces, this thing is allowed. But we cannot instantiate, like you cannot write something like this is equal to new pet. Let's create object of interface. No, that thing is not allowed. Pet is abstract, cannot be instantiated, right? So this thing is not allowed. Interfaces cannot be instantiated like abstract classes. And in interfaces, we cannot have constructors as well. In abstract classes, we can have constructors, right? But there are no constructor in interfaces, right? This is the second difference between abstract classes and interfaces. Okay, now we have created the reference. Now rather than using animal dot show affection, let's write down p dot this. Let's see what error you are getting here. Okay, variable p might not have been initialized. Okay, obviously you cannot directly call this. You have to initialize this because right now this is simple reference, so it is referring to null. So in p we are having null. So null dot method, this thing is not allowed. You have to write down like p equal to create an object again dog, this thing. Let's just comment out this, and we are giving the same name, like okay. Let's just comment out this thing also, and now run this. Now it will call the method show affection. So Rocky is wagging his tail and licking your hand, right? So this is how we can use interfaces. Fine. Now in cat class also. Now you do one thing, you pause the video, and in cat also implements the pet interface. and define your whatever the method in pet interface and use call that method in main. Pause the video and try this out. So we are having this method. I hope you have done this. Let's just copy paste this thing only because we are going to change it a little bit. Name is how cat is going to show affection. Like the cat is whatever the name of your cat. If you have like is purring and rubbing against your legs. So this is how cat is going to show affection. Now in main, if I just comment out this thing and I create a cat object, let's pass here the name of your cat. Suppose the name is Mitty or any name we can take. But we cannot pass name because cat is abstract and cannot be instantiated. Let's see. Cat. Oh, we have made this class abstract. See, abstract public class cat. We don't want that. This should be an abstract class. We want this is a regular class. Cat extend animal and as well as one more thing implements interface, whatever the interface. Otherwise, obviously, it will give error. So, okay, now that's fine. Let's go to main class. But still, you are getting error because okay, in cat we are not having any constructor which is expecting any argument. In dog we are having that thing. Like if you go to dog class, then public dog string name super dot name. So let's have same constructor in cat class as well. That's it. It is going to call super name. Super means super class. So animal. Go to animal class and it is going to call this constructor. This no name is equal to name. Right? So in cat we are having this thing. Let's go to main now. Okay, now I guess it will work fine. Let's try to run this and see. Okay, you are getting error in this my cat class. In interfaces in this we are having a my cat also. Let's just delete this class. We don't want this. Okay, in main now let's just run this. See, is wearing and rubbing against your legs. So you are able to call this with the help of pet reference. So this is how we can achieve also what? Polymorphic behavior. With the help of pet reference type, you are able to call cat object as well as dog object. So it is known as polymorphism. So you are able to achieve polymorphism as well with interfaces. So interfaces also allow you to achieve that thing. Runtime polymorphism like abstract classes or simple classes. So one more thing you need to take care. Now this if a class is inheriting from a class as well as implementing an interface. So the order should be something like this. It first extend the class, then implement the interface. If you write something like this, like first implement pet and then extend animal, then it will give you error. See, there's a red line, right? So this thing is not allowed. So this thing also you need to take care. This should be first. The priority would be given to the classes, then interfaces in most of the cases, right? And now if you have suppose two interfaces, so we can implement two interfaces as well, like pet1, pet2. Suppose we just create one more interface here, new Java class, its interface, and let's name this. We just name this pet1, although it is not making any sense, but just want to show you. That's it. How we can achieve multiple inheritance with interfaces. So we have one more method. Suppose here in interface pet1, what we can have? We can have one method jump. That's it. Void jump. So we are having two interfaces, pet1, and dog is suppose extend implementing pet as well as pet1. So now again error. See, you have to implement this jump also in this. So that must be public. Like dog is jumping high. Simple. This I'm taking. Like the implementation is this only. Now in main, we can call with p dot, what we can call? That also, what we have? Jump. Okay, you cannot call jump here. Why so? Can anybody identify this thing? Because right now, p is what referring to cat. But in cat class, we don't have any like that method, jump. because cat is implementing only pet interface, not pet one. So you need to take care of this thing. Let's just comment out this and remove this and comment this. Now P is like implementing, P is referring to dog object. Okay. Now cannot resolve symbol jump in pet. Okay, fine. Now why you are getting this error? Because this P, this is reference variable of pet interface, right? In pet interface, obviously that method binding would be done at compile time. It will, we have the reference of type pet, this interface. So in this interface, compiler will check jump method is there or not. But in pet, we don't have any jump method. So that's why you are getting an error. So for that, how to resolve this? You just pause the video and think about this. We can do one thing. We can create pet1 object. Now pet1 is equal to P. Let's comment this thing. And now P is new dog. Now with the help of P, you can call jump. But you cannot call show affection. See, because now show affection is not in pet1, it is in pet. So this thing you need to take care. So let's comment out this thing and run this. Now see, dog is jumping high, so you are able to do this thing. Now dog is implementing two interfaces, one class, that's fine. So one class can implement more than one interface, so that is kind of like multiple inheritance. There is no diamond type of problem there, because in pet, if suppose same is there, same method is there, suppose show affection is also in pet 1 here, same method in pet as well as pet 1, and dog is implementing both pet and pet 1. So because of multiple inheritance, there could be can be ambiguity like that diamond problem. Which method is going to be called invoked when you are going to call this with dog object? But here is no error kind of thing, right? So if you remove this, now you will not get any error, because in pet 1 also we are having show affection. Let's run this. Now both the methods will be called. And why you are not getting this error? Because these methods are abstract. There is no implementation. Pet 1, pet, these are abstract. So there is no implementation. That's why. And the dog class, whatever class will implement these interfaces, must have to give implementation. So obviously this method will be given preference. This method will be called, right? So we are having this method and pet. See, this is not in color, is never used. Pet 1 is used. If suppose, let me just change it a little bit. See carefully. It is pet P. Just commenting out this thing. P is equal to this P dot show affection. Now what do you think? Let's run this. What output you will get here? Rocky is wagging his tail and licking your hand. Okay, we have this method in dog, because at runtime these methods are like not static, instance methods are there. So at runtime, object is dog, so it will check the most specific method would be called at runtime binding. So it will first check, JVM will first check in dog class, is there any show of action method? Yes, so that would be called. That's it. Now see, this is highlighted and pet1 is now in no color. It is never used, now in pet is highlighted. Why so? In the previous case, pet1 method was highlighted, pet method was like never used in gray color. Because in main, whatever reference you create according to that, that method would be called from the interfaces. Here the interface is pet. In the previous case, interface was pet1. But there is no error, there is no ambiguity. That is for sure. So it's like more than two interfaces can also extend. This class can extend pet1, pet2, pet3, or maybe many interfaces are there. Generally, interfaces are like not of this name. They are having at the like runnable, iterable, these kind of interfaces having at the end like BLE, these things. But I just want to show you, that's why I have just taken a simple name pet and pet1. But this is not recommended. This is not a good idea how to name interfaces, right? Now I hope this thing is clear to you. Now you just try out all these things with cat class as well. Implement pet, pet1, and with the cat class, try to call all the methods, whatever is there in pet and pet 1. Okay, now we have I have discussed how to use abstract method in interfaces, how to use like how to write default, static, and private method. These also I'll show you in next videos. Right now, abstract methods in interfaces. We know abstract methods are having no implementation without a body. Classes implementing the interface must provide implementation. That is a rule, and implicitly these are public. So all the interface methods are implicitly public and abstract by default. These are public and abstract. You don't need to write down these things. Yeah, constants are also allowed, that I have told you already. Public, static, and final constants. This thing also I'll show you in later videos. First, we'll see all the methods, then we will add also constant. Implicitly, these are public. Static means they belong to the interface, not instances, not the objects. So the constant would be static. These are not, used to store the state of the object. No, these are static, not instance variables. Instance variables are allowed in abstract classes only. So that's why I have told you that interfaces do not store state and cannot be instantiated. Constructors are also not allowed. So these are few differences between abstract classes and interfaces. And constant cannot be changed after initialization because these are final. If needed, you can have these constant in interfaces. I hope now the basic, you have the idea of interfaces, basic things. In the next lecture, we will see what are some changes like added in Java 8 and Java 9, default method, static method, how there can be a diamond problem, how diamond problem can occur in interfaces as well, and how to resolve that problem. Right? How an interface is going to extend another interface. That thing is also allowed. So all these things we'll see in the next lecture, right? You just practice and try this out. I mean, how to define interfaces and implement interfaces. Okay. So now I'll see you in the next lecture. Till then, bye bye. Take care.